The word Diwali means a row of lights. Diwali is a joyous festival marking the triumph of good over evil. Families and communities gather together to enjoy meals, exchange gifts, and delight in reunion. Traditionally, Diwali is celebrated on the darkest night of the year, when the beauty of lights can be appreciated. This year, the darkness that has descended on our precious earth is deep and dense. Our world is engulfed in loud and silent cries, broken hearts, unimaginable suffering and pain. Families are crushed as they mourn the violent deaths of grandmothers and grandfathers, mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, and their precious babies. The play and laughter of children have been silenced by the darkness of fear and death. We who hold life to be a sacred and precious gift, we who hold the source of this gift to be a being of infinite love, we who hold that the good life is one where our relationships are defined by loving care for each other, by justice, and by generosity, we who value respect for the dignity of every human being, we must cry out for the tragedy unfolding in Israel and Palestine. We must grieve for every precious life lost. This is a human-caused catastrophe that did not have to happen. A catastrophe that exemplifies the moral evil that every religious tradition condemns. This moral evil expresses itself in violence, mercilessness, and disregard for each other's well-being. This moral evil is the consequence of our failure to see ourselves in others and to regard the joys and sorrows of others as our own. This failure causes us to privilege our own interests above others, even when it causes them pain and suffering. It causes us to value our own communities and nations more than others, creating the conditions to advance the interests of our own communities, even when doing so destroys other communities. Moral evil is the consequence of our failure to inclusively open our hearts to others, the failure to hear the cry of every child who has lost a parent in war as our child's cry, the failure to hear the cry of every mother who has lost a child as our mother's cry. Moral evil so shrivels our heart that we are able, without remorse, to slaughter the most defenseless and innocent among us, our beloved children. We are called by our religious traditions to overcome moral evil in our world. Hinduism supports the right of nations and communities to self-defense. At the same time, the ethical ideals of the tradition insist that even acts of self-defense must be exercised with care and regard for life and for the minimization of suffering. Weapons of mass destruction that cause widespread loss of life are prohibited. The tradition also specifies those who must not be hurt. The list includes women and children, the aged and disabled, and refugees fleeing war. Self-defense is not a license to engage in reckless and indiscriminate violence with no limits on the means employed. Brutality on the part of those who attack us ought not to justify our own use of excessive violence without regard for the innocent. Hinduism would give its support to all measures necessary to protect non-combatants and to secure their safety and well-being. We are never exempt from being compassionate and humane, even when we must employ force to defend ourselves. Every Hindu prayer ends with a threefold recitation of the word peace, Shanti. The repetition of this word expresses the Hindu hope for peace in every human heart, in every community, and in the natural world. We will not attain peace in a world in which there is violence and injustice, and we cannot be effective agents of peace if we lack peace in our own hearts. Let us this Diwali lift up our voices and our prayers for the innocent victims of war in Israel and Palestine, and in every part of our world where war rages. Let us call upon the parties in these conflicts to do all that is necessary to protect innocent lives and to end suffering. Let us pray to be led from war to peace with this ancient Hindu prayer. Om Dhyau Shanti Antariksham Shanti Prithvi Shanti Apa Shanti Oshadhaya Shanti Vanaspataya Shanti Vishvedeva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvam Shanti Shantireva Shanti Sama Shanti Redhi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May there be peace in the skies and on earth. May there be peace in the waters, in the forests, and in the plants. May there be peace in divine beings. May there be peace everywhere, and may that peace be ours.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Shubham Karota Kalyanam Arogyam Sarvasampadam Shatru Buddhi Vinashaya Deepat Jyoti Namostute. How are we to celebrate Diwali in the midst of global crisis? Indeed, I believe it is in the middle of chaos that we have to find reasons for joy and peace. We, on behalf of Hindus everywhere, ask for a ceasefire in Gaza and Palestine and the Middle East and the world. I've been thinking a lot about how to celebrate Diwali amidst this crisis, and yet I'm reminded by the poet Rumi, who says the wound is where the light enters. And so in the wound that is happening and being reawoken among millions of people, may we find ways for the divine intervention of peace and healing to happen. May we recognize that we as a people can choose to side on the side of peace, on the side of justice, and on the side of humanitarian need and aid that's extremely needed right now for people, especially in Gaza. Our Hindu communities require us, our Hindu philosophies at least, require us to think about ahimsa. I'm reminded of the many great scholars who talked about finding peace even even when an enemy harms us, we have to figure out a way to peace. And so I implore all of us to find ways to hold that light, hold the vision and value of Diwali, which for me is about celebrating community, healing, celebration, and also life, and recognizing that the harvest and the new year is a new beginning. May we allow for a new beginning that is centered in peace and healing and gathering in the Middle East, particularly in Gaza and Palestine. And may we together find a universal sense of bliss. Asatoma satkamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta sanmangalani bhavantu, samasta loka sukhino bhavantu, samasta loka sukhino bhavantu, samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. May this chant be our cry for justice. May this sound be the creation of peace. May this be our commitment to continue to hold justice and equity in all that we do, so that we can have peace. Let there be peace in ourselves. Let there be peace in our communities. Let there be peace in the universe. Shanti.
Hi, this is Sushma Dwivedi with the Purple Pundit Project, and here is my prayer for peace. Om Dhyo Shanti Ratra Sham Shanti Prithvi Shanti Rapa Shanti Oshadaya Shanti Vanaspataya Shanti Vishwadeva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvam Shanti Shanti Reva Shanti Sama Shanti Redhi. Om Shanti 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 Om. It's a tough time in the world, and with all this destruction happening in Gaza and Israel, it's easy to feel weird about how to celebrate anything, especially Diwali. I'm making peace with it by taking time to let the light in. There's a lot of darkness. Diwali, as we know, is all about light over dark, good over evil, and the triumph therein. And since there's so much darkness in the world at the moment, I believe pretty strongly that we have to make space for the light. So this Diwali, I'm spending time with my family. I'm getting involved in my community. I am sending the best wishes of peace out there as I possibly can, and supporting all my friends who are impacted by it all more closely. And that's the way that I think we will find our way through all this darkness in the world.